kill it. I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up with the money pile up. I'ma get rich with life.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome live from Fort Worth, Texas. Clydesdale Media interview, podcast, whatever we're calling this. But Coach Krispy Kreme's back on the air. What's going on, brother?
Back, finally. We've only been trying to do this for 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous.
It's been crazy. So crazy. But you are back for your second year coaching individual athletes.
Yeah.
At the CrossFit Games. Easier year two or harder?
That's a really good question. A little easier in some ways. Just kind of know what to expect. Done it once before, kind of have an idea of things I tried that worked, things I tried that didn't work, right? Like those kind of things. But I would say still challenging, you know.
With Dave kind of taking over this year, the individual side, how much difference have you already seen?
Oh, it's the work capacity games again. By far. Boz was much more interested in execution and precision, and Dave is about testing massive amounts of work capacity across the weekend in various ways. Like, I think that's pretty clear, even just by what's been announced so far.
So you and Hattie checked in yesterday.
Yes, yesterday.
How did that go?
It was good. It was really well run, seamless. GoRec did a good job. The other vendors and booths that were there were cool. The other partners and sponsors. It was a lot of fun. It was very well run, smooth. It was nice. Not like waiting around for a long time to do anything, but you weren't rushed either. So it was cool.
How many takes did the jump take for you to get the right one?
A few. I got in trouble with the photographer because my arm kept coming up and blocking the light. So it was messing up the shot. So I had to think about what I was doing with my hand when we were doing that. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. They played music for her. She was like, I want some music to, when she was doing her stuff, and it was cool. It was really fun.
What made me happy is seeing this in the jump while jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah, she pulled it off. Yeah, that's our little sign to each other.
Yeah. It's like her thing now. Like this. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kelly and Hattie are very different athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Very different people. What is the biggest difference you see this year taking care of Hattie as opposed to taking care of Kelly?
Kind of the vibe they like, I think. Kelly, I mean, she's just so like, right? Like she got to Madison a day before me. She had her hotel room, had a rental car, like all these things. Obviously, it's a little different too. The games being in Fort Worth, like Hattie came down, we drove up from Houston. Versus, this year, like we're at a massive Airbnb with family, coach, like my fiance is here, kind of like her whole like tribe. Whereas Kelly had space for her to just kind of go completely decompress and things like that. So a little bit different for, I think, what the energy they need from how they decompress and stuff in competition and the vibe. And then, I mean, preparing them for the games in terms of the nuts and bolts was quite different because they're just very different athletes when it comes to some of the physiology stuff and training and all that stuff.
So Corey says, we're on a hot mic. Am I too loud?
It could be me because
you're fine to me.
Okay.
Am I good to you?
You're good to me. But I'm sure there's a ton of background noise from me just because I don't have a headset and we've got people here.
This is the first time I've used this
Okay.
ever, so I don't know the volume of it.
You said, no, you're not, Scott.
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
We're good. All right. So you did Madison last year. Now you're in Texas.
Yeah.
Easier.
Yeah. We left my house at 9 a.m. Monday morning and got to CrossFit Westwood at 1:30 to move around and get her loose and get settled. Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty nice. I'm not going to lie. Filled up the truck with the recovery stuff and food and, my suitcase, her suitcase. All just made the travel a lot easier.
I personally, just from a media perspective, love when I can drive to the event because I can take everything.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't have to worry about forgetting anything.
Mm-hmm.
How much was it an ease of your mind that you knew you could drive it if you had to?
Oh, it was a ton of ease to my mind. It even led to me doing goofy stuff. Like I brought my cowboy boots and a pair of jeans. And anytime I've went to the venue so far, I've been in those. Like, because that's really easy to just, toss my boots in the back of the truck and do that versus if I had to get on an airplane, I'd be like, man, is this really worth the space?
Yeah. So is that going to be the whole weekend?
So it never intended to be. At first, I was just going to do it at check-in just for fun. I think I have this internal shtick in my brain where we all want CrossFit to be a professional sport, but we all dress like we just went to 24-hour fitness, even the coaches. And I'm not saying we need to be in 3-piece suits all the time, like basketball or something. But I was like, maybe, we can be progressive with the dress code. So I wore my jeans and my boots. I was going to wear a polo, but I forgot one. And I don't have a branded one for Ascend. So that was as far as it was ever meant to go. And then one of my other coaches, he said, you should wear it again today to the orientation. I was like, all right, I'll wear it again today. So I wore it again today to orientation. I don't know that I'm going to be at the lake in it tomorrow. It is warm. The temperature here, I know people are going to tell me I'm crazy. It feels a lot better than Houston just because it's not as humid. Like it's hot, but it's not nearly as humid, so I can still get away with wearing jeans and not sweating profusely immediately. So I don't know. We might have some events at Dickies in the jeans and boots again. I'm gonna have to wash these. I only brought one pair of jeans, so have to figure that out. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Well, you're in an Airbnb. Yeah. That's different from last year, right?
Oh yeah. I was in a hotel for 9 days. Yeah.
So you have that ability to do laundry and cook or whatever. Yeah.
I even brought my own laundry detergent. Easy.
Yeah, I got in today. What a mess. But I got in today, got to the hotel. I have not eaten since I got up this morning.
Oh,
and finally just DoorDash something in.
Yeah.
But there actually are restaurants across the street, but it was so freaking hot for me, this northerner. Let's save my energy for later in the weekend.
It's warm. I'm not going to deny that it's hot. I'm not going to be that quintessential southerner that's like, it's not hot out here. No, it's hot. I'm just used to worse conditions.
Yeah, I think it was 103 when I came in today.
Yeah.
So the only thing that really has bothered me about the heat so far is tap water is not cold.
Yep.
The
I didn't
pipes,
even think that would be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, tap
in
water
the north
around here.
You turn on the tap water, you get cold water from under the ground, right?
Yeah.
And here you turn on the tap water and it's still lukewarm.
I love that. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that's something I would have never even thought about because I just put ice in all my water.
Yeah. Don't have that in the hotel room. See, you're in the Airbnb.
No, see, another case for the Airbnb.
Yeah. Corey says, you're going to have to do Jamie's laundry in Birmingham. Not enough uniforms.
Yeah, if so, I'll do it. No biggie. Just a little laundry.
Yeah. Not a problem here. They got, looks like the whole line of clothing from Go Ruck.
Lots of swag, lots of uniforms. It was cool. Go Ruck did some cool stuff with some of the apparel too, with the way they did the flags, the way they put their names on there, the country, sewing some stuff on. The backpacks have like an embroidered patch, I think, or like a depressed patch with their initials. There's some they did some cool stuff.
Yeah. Coaches get anything or just a wristband?
Nah, dude. It's the same thing as always. We stand there, we get a wristband, and we get told all the things we can't do.
Yeah. Kenneth asks, so is Yeti the title sponsor? To my understanding, there is no title sponsor. They're just sponsors of things.
I guess. Yeah, I briefly saw when I was on Instagram, I saw the little Hiller thing with Yeti. I think Go Ruck's the sponsor, but
the way it was released in the press release was they were the apparel sponsor.
So I guess that's all they are.
If you look at the CrossFit Games logo, it does not have any name other than 2024 CrossFit Games.
That's true.
If it was a title sponsor, there would be a brand name in that logo.
Right. That's true.
And I have not seen that as of yet. Now, I was on a plane all day today, so who knows?
My social media presence has been about 0 today. So
yeah, actually, just when we went on the air, it looks like they announced team events 2 and 3.
I feel so bad, but I don't feel super bad about it, but I do enjoy watching the team competition and knowing what the events are, that kind of stuff. One of our Ascend coaches is on a team, and I have friends on teams, but when I'm something like the games in go mode the whole time, I probably won't be able to tell you 3 of the team events at the end of the weekend. Just no mental. And last year I knew all of them, obviously because of Einhorn. But now this year I'm like, nope, not my priority, not important, don't have bandwidth for it.
Yeah, totally understandable. So as a coach, like you have 3 events a day until Sunday. Look, I don't have a script, so we're just going on the fly. How disappointed? I was disappointed when I saw that event 6 was not a double scored event.
I wasn't overly surprised it wasn't. I figured it would be initially. But I had thought in the back of my head they could make it some sort of combined score. And if I am correct, the way they're doing it, if you get second and second, you have 4 points. And then that'll just rank you for your total, placing, kind of like the Open, right? I like that a lot for an event like that, personally, because if you're not good at both of the time domains of running, you can't try to hide on the leaderboard with a win and a low finish. Like, it helps a little, but I like that it's balanced a little bit more in that sense. I do think I was expecting 12 total events, though. I will say that. But what we were talking about a moment ago with Dave's proclivity to test a lot of work capacity and the way he writes workouts, we may see all the events and look back and be like, we didn't need 12. Right?
Well, just because that isn't double scored doesn't mean we're not going to get a double scored event on Sunday where there's only 2 events, right? Or 2 slots.
Right. So I could see a potential double score on one of the events in the last day, or like a 2-parter for sure.
I just felt the 2 Friday night events were both valid tests.
Yeah. I mean, they're different for sure, right? It's roughly testing through the same modality, but it's not exactly, it's like a combined test the way the second portion starts at 12 minutes. Right. So by doing it that way, you're testing, the mile ability and that kind of energy system and speed. And then they're testing your recovery and then going into a very high intensity sprint with some load. Right. So I think I would guess potentially the reason it's scored the way it is because of how he wanted the test to like play out and feel.
Okay.
Potentially.
With what you know so far, how are you feeling with Hattie going into the weekend?
I'm excited for her. I think, all the workouts we've found out so far are good workouts for her, good tests. I mean, we've got a long run and a swim. We've got a running dominant workout, got some rope climbs, stuff like that. I'm excited for her to just go kind of like she did at semifinals. And that's the mindset we're taking with this is go run Hattie's race and go showcase your hard work.
If you were a professor and you gave her your final exam at semifinals, she aced it until the final event.
You sure?
Her and I talked. She found out from an outside source that she had clinched. Do you think that was the crux of everything, or did you need to work on something from that point till now?
I mean, we definitely went back and addressed some, lunging, ring muscle ups. Like we put a small premium on those events or those movements. But I do think a lot of that was what she had talked about with just where her head was at going into that last event, knowing that she had clinched and just kind of had a weird kind of emotional response to it.
What a wild sport when you're the only athlete going into the final event who has clinched a spot and you fall off the podium.
Right? Yeah. That was a crazy, just 4 minutes of my life and her life. But I mean, gosh, I'd like to learn that lesson when you've clinched.
True.
Not on the bubble, right?
Which was better than last year when you had the same catastrophe on the final event of semis, but you had to wait
15 minutes. What did I text you right after the event? I'm cursed.
Yeah.
It's not them, it's me. 2 years in a row, 2 different athletes, different venue. Last event, shenanigans. It's not them, it's me. I'm cursed.
Yeah, I was losing my mind on the stream.
Yeah, that was wild. I mean, that was a learning moment for me as a coach. That was a learning moment for her as an athlete. But again, would rather learn those lessons in the position we were in than on the bubble, outside looking in, something like that.
So in our talks, I know you're a geek for this coaching thing, right? You try to suck up as much knowledge as you can. How would you grade your improvement from last season to this season as a coach?
Ooh. I would say I'm pretty stingy with my own grading of myself. I generally think I can always do better, so I'll try to be generous with myself and say I got an A minus. Other people might say I've done better, but you've known me a decent bit of time now, and my fiance could definitely tell you my default operating system is you're not good enough. So hard for me to be generous with myself sometimes, but I'm trying to get better at it. I learned a ton last year, being blessed to be in the situation with training Kelly, training Hattie, training Madison, training Savannah, training Jacob, all for semifinals, then continuing to train and the team, and then continuing to train Kelly and the team for the games. That definitely allowed me to be a lot smarter in my approach for this year for semifinals and then definitely the games. I also just think there's no replacement for time with an athlete to learn them. Right? Like being able to coach Hattie for a whole nother 365 days. Like we learned so much last year. We trialed things in the summer. We had conversations. We learned things. We went and did LFIT, like learned things there. Like we learned a lot, and I had time to continue to understand like the dose response, what she needs, what she doesn't need, what sticks, what doesn't stick, the frequency, and like all of those different things to have a better approach. So it was part of the difficulty, I think, of games prep is, or semis prep and then games prep is doing it with two different people. But I did have more time with Hattie this year with our background last year, so I could be more strategic. Right.
Yeah. And if people don't remember, most of your athletes came TFX or later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for Kelly.
Yeah,
Kelly
and Jake.
was on a team that you helped with the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So that was natural. And then if we were looking at this like a college football coach, you had a hell of a recruiting trip to TFX.
Yeah. 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 Went to TFX and 2 weeks later had a way busier schedule.
Way. Yeah. Because you got Madison, Savannah from TFX.
Madison, Savannah. I had been coaching the team already. So they were already with me. So yeah, Madison, Savannah, and then Hattie came just after TFX. Well, I don't think she was in Houston yet. If she had, she hadn't been there very long.
Yeah, I knew it was around that time, but
yeah,
timing's weird.
Because she was like, she got there. Yeah, I want to say it was around that time. Like she hadn't been to Houston for very long. Yeah, TFX last year was wild.
So I'm gonna finish up with this question. I had Justin Kotler on not that long ago because of situations that were out of his control. He went from a big camp to a little camp, and actually talked about how it took him back to like the start with the smaller camp, and that he actually really enjoyed it. What do you think the capacity is for an elite CrossFit coach?
Are we defining elite as all athletes should more than likely make the games?
I think an elite CrossFit coach is someone training people who want to make the games, and our semifinal athletes are better.
I mean, I think that my honest answer to that would be it depends on how many athletes they coach in general, right? If you, and this might be me, and I might be totally wrong, but if I only coached exclusively semifinals level and games athletes, and I had nothing else to do with my time, I didn't coach at an affiliate, I didn't do any of that stuff, 2 or 3 games athletes, or one in a team, and then several semifinals athletes. It's not the nuts and bolts, at least to me. Like, making people better at exercising fast is really not that complicated, in my opinion. And yes, I'm a freaking super nerd, and I've been doing this for a long time, just not at this level. But like, that's not hard. What's hard is, oh, you're taking 5 people to semifinals in the freaking female division, and they all want to go to the games. That's fucking hard. Like, what are you supposed to do? You know what I mean? So I think that's more the thing, at least in my opinion, versus just like watching people do fitness, figuring out what they need to do it faster, having conversations, and then writing program design to do that. Like, that's not that hard, in my opinion.
So truly the hard thing is supporting yourself in this endeavor, and that you have to take on even more to be able to do that.
Well, I mean, depending on the coach and the situation, right? Like,
yeah.
But I also, like, I love coaching people who are, on the come up. Like, I love coaching games athletes and semifinals athletes. Like, I just love coaching people, right? Like, but it's not like I love coaching because I love coaching, not because it's like, sure, the stakes are higher, I guess, or the performance metrics are higher, but it's not like I just want to coach games athletes. Like, those are really fun athletes to coach, and it's exciting, but I want to make people better. I guess that's the intersection point for like the nerdy side of me and the coach side of me is like, what do I need to give them on the nerdy side and the programming side to help them reach their goal? Or what kind of conversations do we need to have? Or what do I need to teach them about the sport? Or, things like that. Like, I have an athlete who goes to our affiliate, just as an easy example. He goes to our affiliate. He's a one-on-one athlete of mine, and we've been working together for like a year. He's gotten so much better at so many things. And we've gotten to this kind of funny point in his training where he can kind of do most stuff in good size sets, this, that, and the other. And he's a taller athlete. He's about my height, maybe a smidge taller. And I was watching him train one day, and I walked up to him and I said, "Hey man, you got to go faster." But he had never gotten to that point where he could do the stuff and then try to do it faster. Right. But it was like, that's where we're at. Like, we don't need some super secret sauce fitness protocol right now. Like, we're making sure we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's on like his weaknesses, but I need you to learn how to go fast, because now you can do the stuff, but you need to be able to do it faster. Right. And that's like, every athlete at semifinals at games level understands they need to be moving very quickly. Right. It's just like in them at that point. So it's like, there's different learning curves and things like that. So I guess it's a very not short answer and kind of a loose answer at that to how many games athletes, but I think or semifinals elite games athletes, but I think it comes down to a lot of the situation, right? Like, are they in the same region? Are they at the same level? Are they both male? Are they both female? Like, is one of them on a team? Do you coach a team of people and an individual? Like, do you need to coach other athletes to support yourself as a coach? Well, and grow a brand or a business, or there's just so many things that can play into that. But I think it varies. It would be very difficult, I think, to coach, I don't know, 3 people at the games. Like, that would be pretty nuts. But I think a lot of that, and maybe this is just me as a coach, because I do get pretty invested in people, is like, how am I emotionally going to be able to cheer for these people all going against each other at the same time? Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, if you had 3 guys or 3 girls, like, fuck, like, what am I supposed to do here? So that could be tough.
Yeah.
Because then when they come off the floor, they're all going to come to you. Right? So it's like
one's happy, one's sad, and one's meh.
Right. And it's just like, you know, you can get better at like the, you know, kind of changing your face and all that stuff and meeting them where they are, like with communication experience and stuff like that. But it's still logistically at some point, it's going to be a problem. Like somebody's warming up, somebody's going on the floor, somebody's not even here yet. Somebody needs you to get them this, somebody, like it could be pretty crazy. So I think I think it's almost natural, like the funnel of performance. There are going to be less people who can do certain things, right? Like just as we, from training age, genetics, whatever. So I almost think it's kind of like the more you're working with people at that tippy top, the more people you have there, it starts to become more difficult, right?
Well, that answer gave me like 17 follow-ups.
We can do a couple if you want. Not.
But I need to hop on with Carolyn in a half an hour.
Okay.
To preview the games. And yeah, I love chatting with you. I'm going to leave on this one note, right? When I was getting my MBA, there was this theory that there are 2 types of leaders, mentors. There's the mentor leader who likes to polish the diamond, like the diamond's there, it's been constructed, but it just needs a little bit of shine to get it over the edge, right? And then there's the other kind who likes to take the piece of coal and mold that diamond themselves.
Right.
And the theory is that you can't be both. You're either one or the other. Which one are you?
You're going to hate me, but I'm going to say when I get Jacob to the games, I'm going to say I'm both.
Okay. It was a theory. You can bust theories.
I don't buy into that entirely. I totally get, because it's 2 different kinds of people. One's a precision instrument and one's a blunt force instrument. But it depends on the person. Like, you can choose what instrument you need to be. Right? If you have the capacity to like be aware of it. So, like, I'm not the best at self-categorizing myself, which is probably why I want to scapegoat answer it and say both. I also don't know if I feel like I'm a polisher or a breaker, like, because it's all an iterative process on a spectrum. Like,
so can I tell you what I think you are?
Sure.
So I think you're more the latter.
A polisher or the other?
You're a build people up.
I could see justification for that.
If you look at your stable of athletes, you've never started with what most people in the industry would call a diamond.
Sure.
Kelly Baker never made the games before.
Right.
Hattie Canyo never made the games before. And you've taken them from that and you've built them into something special.
Yeah.
So if you take Jacob to the games, I think you're doing the same thing you've done.
Sure.
You've not been given the opportunity for, say, I'm just going to Ariel Lowen wants a coach all of a sudden and comes over, right? That's a completely different starting point than you've ever been in as a coach.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a way different starting point.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not that Kelly and Hattie and Madison weren't great athletes before you got them.
Yeah, freaks, all of them.
They just needed their clarity fixed up and their cut fixed up. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
right? It was a little more than just a polish.
Right.
It was.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
that's where I think you are.
I could see that. I'm good with it.
But I think in your mind, you thought they were great when they came to you,
Well, yes, I do.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but and I think they're great too. I've been a fan of Kelly's for a long time.
Yeah.
And Hattie, you know how I feel about Hattie.
She's the best.
But the industry, if I was to go
Sure.
to Tommy Marquez and to John Young, you're going to hear stuff that they don't like.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
So that's where I think you are. And that's why I think you're so cool. So
thank you.
Well, this has been fun, man. I can't wait to see you in person.
Yeah, seriously. I can't wait to see you.
Yeah, so I'll be over there tomorrow at the venue.
Sweet.
Got in too late to get my credentials and go to a media orientation. So I don't even know where I'm allowed to be yet.
Just gonna figure it out on the fly.
Yeah.
That's all good.
That's how we do it. That's how we roll most of the time anyway.
Sometimes that's just how it's better. Just be adaptable.
Yeah, just go do my thing.
Yeah.
Just hope there's a seat left for me to sit in.
I'm sure there will be a seat.
All right, Triston. Well, thank you so much. Good luck to you and Hattie this weekend.
Thank you.
Scott. I'll be rooting from the stands, getting some pictures, and I can't wait to see you over there.
Can't wait to see you, man.
With that, we will see everybody next time. Clydesdale Media Podcast. Bye, guys.